Uh, a very good afternoon to you guys. Today we are going to look at natural resources. Okay. Now, the first thing I'll start by defining what natural resources are. So, natural resources are endowments in the environment, endowments in the environment that humans can make use of, that humans can make use of to sustain their survival. To sustain their survival. Okay? These are natural resources. So by saying endowments in the environment, we are just saying these are commodities within our environment that we make use of in order for us to survive. Okay? I will look at classification of resources. Classification of resources. Now, these natural resources I'm talking about are classified into two. The first one, the A, is called renewable resource, or renewable resources, and B, non-renewable resources. Okay? Now, someone may ask, what are renewable resources and what are non-renewable resources? So, we're basically saying renewable resources are those resources that can be used over and over again. Okay? In other words, these are resources that are ever there. You cannot finish them whatsoever. These are renewable resources. Examples of renewable resources would include things like wind. You cannot finish wind. Things like sun. You cannot finish the sun. It's a renewable resource. On the other hand, we have what are called non-renewable resources. Now, non-renewable resources are resources that can end, that can be finished. All right? These are resources like petroleum. Okay? Petroleum, if you use petroleum, if you burn it, it will be finished, and you have to find other means of getting it again. So these are examples of non-renewable. Things like coal. Once coal is used, it cannot be recovered. Okay? So these are examples of, or these are classes of resources. We now move to resource exploitation. Now, resource exploitation involves the deliberate use. It involves the deliberate use and exploitation of a resource of a resource to either satisfy domestic or commercial needs. To either satisfy domestic or commercial needs. All right. So we are saying we are using the resource deliberately in order to satisfy either a domestic or commercial need. So the keywords here are domestic and commercial need. So for domestic need, takutaura vanhu pekuti vakushandisa, like in rural areas, people will be using wood as a source of fuel. So this is exploitation of a natural resource, which is wood, for domestic use. Okay? For cooking, that's the fuel that they use in rural areas. What about for commercial use? For commercial use, they are now using wood for timber. Okay? Especially in Eastern Highlands, in Zimbabwe, nema forest plantations, akawanda. That's where they extract timber. Okay, they use those trees for making timber. So that would be for commercial use. So this is the resource exploitation. Okay. Now we move to population and resources. Now, population and resources. We are now looking at the impact of population on resources in Zimbabwe. So we are looking at the impact of population on available resources. Okay? So with things like soil, you'd realize that since 1980, there was a rapid population in Zimbabwe. So this rapid population, yakaita kuti per resource like soil, there was an impact. How did population impacted on this natural resource? Now you'd realize that people began cultivating big time. By so doing, the soil became weak and infertile. And this also led to soil erosion, because many people were cultivating on land over and over. And the land became weak enough that it could not yield any crops at all. So soil is one of the resources that faced a negative effect of population. We move to forest. So you'd realize that due to the high demand of timber, forests are being destroyed. Many people in urban areas are building houses, and as such, they need timber for roofing purposes. So trees will be cut down like on a rate that is not acceptable, because the timber guys would want to meet the demand of growth in urban areas, whereby people will be buying stands and building houses, and they want timber when roofing their houses. So population also has an impact on forest. Then water. If there is overpopulation, people will dump waste in water, like the Lake Chivero in Zimbabwe. Most of the waste is being directed to Lake Chivero. So there will be water pollution due to population. With wildlife. As much as it is not allowed to hunt, people are practicing hunting one way or the other. So you would see that people will even go to games and try to hunt in game parks. Those are the ones that are not poachers, etc. So you'd see that the more population, the more people hunt, and the more a certain species of animal become extinct. Because the more vanhu vanoramba vachihanta, mhuka dziya dzine dzichihanta kuti dzidyiwe, dzadyiwa dzichapera, tozopedzisira maybe hatisisina a certain type of animal, maybe hatisisina mhembwe dziya, for example. So things like that zvinoratidza kuti overpopulation yakave neimpact ku the natural resources. Now let us look at resource conservation. Resource conservation. Now, how do we conserve these resources? Let's look at how to conserve the forest. Okay. Now, if we want to conserve the forest, we can practice things like afforestation. Afforestation is just planting down of trees. Okay? That's afforestation. Then we have what is known as reforestation. Now, reforestation is a scenario in which you have cut down a tree and you plant another one. That's reforestation. So that's when how it is different from just afforestation. Afforestation is just planting of a tree, but reforestation, you have cut down a tree and you replant another tree. Okay? Just to compensate for the one that you would have cut down. With campaigns like National Tree Planting Day. National Tree Planting Day. Okay? Those campaigns will help, whereby everyone in the country would have to plant a tree. That would actually compensate for some of those trees which have been cut. Another measure can be penalties, the issue of penalties. Okay. So this would mean that for those guys, the parks file, if they catch you cutting down a tree, you pay a fee. So that will also discourage people cutting down trees unnecessarily. Last, maybe you can limit the extraction of timber. Limit extraction of timber. Okay. So for those guys vanoita zvetimber vanofanira kunge vaine malicense anobhadhara, panofanira kunge paine more paperwork so that people just don't engage anyhow to the business of timber. The startup cost should be very high to discourage people from actually engaging to such a business. All right, the forest we are done. Let's look at the water. How can we conserve water? All right. In water, we can maybe treat waste before disposing it into the water. So maybe you can treat waste before disposing it into water or into water channels. So by treating waste, zvinoita kuti isave neharm kuaquatic life or kuzvinhu zvinogara mumvura. Another thing, avoid string bank cultivation. Avoid string bank cultivation. Okay? Avoid cultivating in stream banks like mahombe kombe nomvura meme. We should avoid practice agriculture because zvinoita kuti pave erosion. Then limit use of chemicals on land. Can limit use of chemicals on land. Okay? Because if you use things like fertilizers, you can cause what is known as eutrophication. Okay? Another thing is you can recycle used water. Recycling used water. And also you can penalties for people who dump waste in rivers. You can also, if you catch them, they should just pay an exorbitant fee that will discourage them from doing that next time. Then on land, government can ban gold panning or gold panners for those guys who don't practice mining at a commercial scale. Okay? And if they should be arrested should they be caught. So all these and some more uh, ways you can conserve. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know at 0784 002 002. My name is Takudzwa Kuhuni. Don't also forget to subscribe on my channel and also to put a like. Goodbye.